morning.
I should begin by saying thank you for having us here in beautiful Albuquerque, beautiful New Mexico. I hear that the state's been in the news lately, so it's a good time to be here. I said to somebody just a moment ago, it's always exciting to fly into Albuquerque this time of year, right? Because I think within 50 miles or so, it's a flight attendants be seated zone when you come in. So it's always very exciting. I am, among other things, the criminal justice section liaison to the Judicial Division. So if you've got some angry words you want to share with judges, I'm your guy. So I'll be happy to receive those messages and convey them anonymously, if you like, to whomever you want to target. This is a very exciting day, I think, and frankly, in my view, it's a very exciting time to be involved in the criminal justice system of our country. Having been a former prosecutor for several years and having now been a judge on state and federal courts for nearly 29, throughout that time being focused on full-time criminal justice issues, I have to say I'm one who believed for all that time that the criminal justice system is truly broken in this country in a lot of different ways. And so it's really exciting here in the second decade of the 21st century to see reform actually taking hold. It's just remarkable from my perspective. I don't want to sound Pollyannish, but you look around this country at the local, state, and federal level, under the leadership of law professors, legislators, executive branch officials, stuff is happening. It really is happening. In my state of Maryland, just within the last couple of weeks, a major criminal justice reform will be signed by the governor. And what's really interesting about criminal justice reform these days, it's a confluence of people who believe deeply in moral justice, people who believe deeply in wanting to save money, and people who believe deeply in harm reduction. And it's all of those influences coming together and those constituencies coming together to make all of this happen. So we've got pretrial reform taking place. I was just out in Pima County, Arizona a couple of months ago to talk to judges and probation officers. The MacArthur Foundation is funding, as many of you I know are aware, significant grants to reform pretrial justice systems. Under the Affordable Care Act and other initiatives, we are ever so slowly, but I believe, in my optimistic way, moving toward that day when we will actually have treatment on demand. I won't live to see that day. Few of us, I suspect, in this room will live to see that day, but I think that day is coming. Relatedly, we see continuing efforts to educate the mental health community on co-occurring disorders and to shake psychologists and psychiatrists loose from their fear of treating people with substance abuse issues. So all of this stuff is happening, and it's very exciting. And so it's truly appropriate that this day is devoted to the intersection of law and neuroscience. All of us in here, I think, are old enough to remember the excitement of about 30 to 25 years ago with the growing knowledge and evolution of DNA evidence and genetics more generally. And I think we would all agree that it's been a net positive for the criminal justice system and criminal justice reform. It's taught us a lot of lessons, what we've learned. And I, for one, believe that we're going to be in a similar place, no time soon, to be sure, but we're moving in the direction of understanding that this remarkable research that's ongoing in neuroscience and the efforts of people like the MacArthur Foundation to get out ahead of the law and examine how the law might develop, should develop, and the dangers that lie ahead in some of this new knowledge. And it's very important that criminal justice practitioners like those people in this room and those who train and teach and care about criminal justice practitioners become aware of this extraordinary development. in the intersection of law and neuroscience. Now, prosecutors always get what they want, right? I don't mean to be cynical, but prosecutors generally get what they want and what they need from the political branches. And it's important that the other side of the criminal justice advocacy community also be in a place where it can get what it wants and needs, which means that practitioners, particularly in my view, public defenders and lawyers who receive a lot of appointed cases and others as well, stay abreast of these developments. What's interesting about neuroscience and law, well, there's a lot that's interesting about it, but one of the things that's interesting about it is from the perspective of the criminal defense practitioner, you have unique access to the evidence. That's not typically the case in criminal justice cases, right? Typically, it's the prosecutor who's investigating the offense, has physical custody of the offender, et cetera, et cetera. But when it comes to neuroscience, it's going to be the defense bar, I hope at least, that will drive much of the learning and the knowledge and the insights because, as I say, it's going to be the defense bar that has first crack at the offender's brain. And so it was never true that biology is destiny, but it may be true that neurobiology plays a big role in destiny. So with those opening remarks, let me just say that we are very excited to open today's conference with two extraordinary scholars and researchers, just remarkably insightful teachers and researchers. Their full biographies are in your material, I believe, isn't that right? Yes. So I won't take further time, but Craig and Francis are teachers that I've had the great fortune to sit where you're sitting now and hear them present. And surely, after you've spent 90 minutes with them this morning, as that great Gary Larson cartoon shows, your brain's going to be full. Your brain's going to be really full. But we don't expect you to go out of here as a trained neurologist or neuroscientist. But we think that you'll learn a lot. It will prepare you to hear the remaining presentations today. And we're going to leave time at the end for questions and a little bit of dialogue because we want to know what you're interested in. And you've got two extraordinary experts here today who can answer your questions and help you get to your insights. So with that, I'm going to stop because the real show is about to begin. Francis Chen, Dr. Chen will open with a presentation followed by Dr. Stark.